Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. There's nobody on here yet. I'll just set this down and wait for some people to join. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Jack. I'm hoping that today I started the live stream early enough to where some of my friends over in the UK and the EU can join. I got a little bit of feedback from last time. Hey, Frozen Fish. Hey, Mohammed. Let a few other people join in here before start diving into what I got today. Some exciting stuff for Operation Bad Wolf. See, Jack? 6 p.m. That's perfect. Because last time I tend to work in the evening here, and then it ends up being like 11:30 or 12 at night whenever I do these live streams. So hopefully this is a better situation. Hey, Francisco. Frozen Fish, thanks for the kind words. Your mini can be as nice. All you gotta do is get out there and work on it. All right. So, just give you guys a little tour of where I'm at with Operation Bad Wolf right now. I do have another episode that's going to be coming out hopefully this week. I've got a lot of stuff I got to do today. But as you can see, my carbs are here. Ignition coil, alternator, filters. This is the remote shift housing from under the car. That is out. And hopefully, this is the last time that's ever going to be out. We'll see. We'll see about that. My camera, some of the drive shaft stuff. Mohammed, will you ever make a video about air conditioners on the Japanese spec minis? I will if I ever have one. Personally, I don't think it's going to be something that I'm going to do, not anytime in the near future, because it's really difficult to get those parts here. Frozen Fish, you changing it to rod change? Yes, I am. I was going to wait until my episode to explain why, but I can do it in this live stream. Got my distro out, got my remote shifter, gator, other stuff. Then, hopefully I'm not making you guys too dizzy right now. Head out to the new piece of equipment that's going to be joining the 1293 Operation Bad Wolf. So this is rod change gearbox. It's out of a 998, so the transfer case doesn't have an open breather up at the top, which I'll show you guys here in a sec. But rod change gearbox, and all of the gears actually look pretty damn good. I was kind of spinning this around, looking at everything, and they're in pretty good shape. I'm actually quite surprised. It's obviously really grody down there. That's going to need some major cleaning. Various parts for it. There is a new diff that's going to be coming in, which I'll talk about probably in my next episode or the one after that. Obviously, I'm going to be switching to pot joints, which is going to be really nice. And then the Mini itself, Operation Bad Wolf, it's kind of sad in here, I got to tell you guys. But let's turn that around here so you guys can see that better. Got just about everything disconnected. This is going to be, in the next episode, I'm going to show you guys how to pull a motor, which is going to be fun. I've not done that on the channel, and I've gotten a lot of requests for that. But everything's disassembled. Clutch slave is off. Carburetors and exhaust are off. I've got the whole front, all the crap on the front of the car, that's off. And whole thing is just ready to get pulled. So kind of bittersweet, but I'm hoping that when I take it out here, I'm gonna shave down all this like flaky paint. I'm gonna finally put my engine plate on that I have to get stamped, and then that's just about it. Sorry about the loud cars. I live on a kind of busy street. Ugh. Let's take this transfer case in here. I can show you guys some cool stuff about this. Loud loud noises. So this is an idler gear right here. This goes between your main gear and your drop gear. Pretty sure I got all those names right. Maxi Minis, welcome, welcome. But these idler gears on the rod change boxes have a much bigger, it's really actually the A plus engine blocks, but they have a bigler, much bigly idler gear here. And this pin is actually much larger on these in comparison to my remote box, which I'll do a deeper dive into when I get the remote box out. But let's tilt this up here. One of the main differences on these 998 transfer cases is this breather. As you can see, it's solid right here. And on my Mini, it's actually open so that you can get all the transfer case gases to pass out and actually breathe. So that'll have to get tapped. I've got some cool ideas for that. And let's see, Jack just said something. Let's see what that was. Jack Thomas, what speed gearbox is it? So all of the original gearboxes on the Minis, the Magic Wand might be different, I can't remember, but they're all 4 speeds. So you can get upgrade kits that are like 5 speed, straight cut gears, all sorts of crazy crap. I'm sticking with the 4 speed. I'm gonna change the final drive out in the rod change box. And that final drive on mine is a 2.95. Which I found to be quite ideal for my style of driving in the city and on mountain roads. Let's see, what else do we have here? Liam, so glad you are doing this as I'm about to tear into my 998 this spring. Need another car to work on. No, I just got done with that 998 engine. Well, I'm not done, but it's back in Justin's possession. This engine's gonna keep me busy, that's for sure. And Vince, yes, I just hit 7,000 subscribers. I just saw that. I'm totally over the moon. I can't believe it. I remember when I started this channel and like I was blown away that I had 400 subscribers at the time. I can't even imagine, or I couldn't even imagine hitting a milestone like this. So thank you guys. Thank you, Vince. But if you guys take a look here, this is the breather that's on the 1275 transfer cases. And it is actually open down into the oil compartment. That allows blow-by gas from your pistons to escape out the motor. There's another one that sits over here, so I can't show you, it's too tight back there, but that's where the other gases come out. So, toss that over into the trash. And aside from that, I got this engine lift. I'll be lifting the motor out. It's got some big plans for you guys. There's a lot of content coming up. That's for sure. That is for damn sure. But what questions do you guys have? Is there anything you're curious about with these rod change boxes, remote boxes? Maxi Minis, while you deserve like 40K in most subscribers' opinions, thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I'm actually really excited about how good the gears are in this box. I was expecting that I'd have to replace some of these gears or bearings, but everything's really solid. Like, all I gotta change is this. I'm gonna make that a center oil pickup because I don't want a side oil pickup, and then that'll be kind of it on this. I mean, obviously I gotta clean it. Vince, are you going to put an oil pipe? Oil pipe? I'm assuming you mean a center oil pickup. If that's your question, then yes. That's currently in this box. That's going to come out of that box and go into the one over here. Jack Thomas, are they helical gears? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. These are all just the stock gears that came in this A+. It was a 998 block. This is actually the transmission that was on Justin's 998 that I've been rebuilding on my channel. Sean, what is the difference between your shifter and a usual one? They call it a magic wand, I think. So to answer that, there were three major differences in transmissions. There was the magic wand shifter, the rod change, and the remote. And so the remote looks like this. So you have a big aluminum housing with a big fork over here, and it's all very solid, mounted in the back. Sorry for the loud noise. That was the remote. And a lot of people really desire these ones because they're much firmer. Then you have a rod change, which I don't have yet, but it ends up being just two single steel rods that come back to kind of like a whole shifter assembly, and they hook on to the end of your differential. And then the magic wand is kind of a hybrid. It looks kind of like this, but you have a shifter coming right off of the differential, and it kind of goes through the bulkhead. So you end up kind of shifting like this instead of like this. So those are the three kind of major differences. Minisaurus, why don't you just change the diff and use pot joints on the remote box? So to answer that, I actually go into that in a good bit of detail in my next episode, but the reason I'm not doing that is because this remote box is not actually a Cooper S remote, so it uses this big rubber sandwich plate. And because the guy who welded my floors in, this was before I was very comfortable with a welder and things like that, he did an absolute shit job. And the floors stay in, but it's not the right shape. And the result is that this box really doesn't fit in my car. So it's always had to have the motor kind of angled backwards so that it could fit. It's just not worth it. After 9 years of dealing with it and trying to find solutions, I'm basically just I'm ready for a rod change. I'm gonna move over to the pot joints that way. Um, yeah. But mini source. One other thing, I am going to be changing the diff. I've got a 4-pin diff that a guy in the UK, Paul Jeffries, is actually putting together for me. He is awesome. He's just like awesome dude. I've worked with him so far, just with this build, but he's really, really eager to help and just I'm very excited about the diff that he's making for me. Frozen Fish says that they are helical, so there you go. Maxi Minis wonder how awesome it would sound if they were straight cut gears. It would sound pretty awesome until I have to drive it every day, and I feel like it would get kind of tiring after a while. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't. And there's ways to make straight cut gears a little quieter, but I think I'm just gonna stick with what's in there. It's in really good shape, and I'm trying to keep the budget down a little bit. Pierre, hi from South Africa. Hello. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Hey DJ, welcome. As always from the UK. Yes, hello, hello. I'm really eager to get this cleaned, but I think I want to get the other motor, or the motor, out of my Mini before I actually get into this one. Look at all the empty space over there. It's crazy. Hey Sam, I'm doing well. How are you? Hey George from Greece. Hello, welcome. Switch this around. George says, hi, I think reverse gears are straight cut. Anybody confirm? I can confirm that. They are straight cut. The reverse gears, as far as I know, are all straight cut. Maxi Mini says, if you're going 70 miles per hour consistently, would you need a 5-speed? No, you don't. A lot of what can really help with that is if you know you're going to be driving your car on the highway really frequently, that's kind of your MO, that's where you're driving most of the time, you can get a higher ratio highway driving and higher speeds. So you end up having 1, 2, 3, and they're all pretty similar. And then that final drive is going to put you into a speed and RPM range that's more suited for what you're driving to. You'd have to look up a reference sheet of the different final drive gears. 2.95 has been pretty good for me. It's not screaming too much on the highway. But there are other ones you can put in there. I think that if you go to 2.75, it gets more manageable on the highway, but you lose a lot of the kind of like low end torque and the lower speed, lower RPM power. Graham, hello from sunny UK. Is it actually sunny there? I'm gonna guess it's probably not. Oh, I still have my sunglasses on my head. Man, I am so ready to get this stuff going. I'm ready to get that motor out. Hopefully I'll be able to get the video for Bad Wolf out in maybe in the next few days. I think I'm gonna have enough content in this episode to get you guys to satiate the needs of the subscribers. I'm kind of excited. This thing's really heavy. I'm hoping the rod change box is going to be lighter. It's always funny. Every time I've taken this off, I don't know if you guys can see in there. Let's see if I can get some light in there. I almost always find nuts and bolts that have fallen down in here, and I assumed were lost forever. But there's even a few pins in here from the pot joints, or not from the pot joints, from the U-joint nylon cups. There's even a few. Those little roller bearings. This thing just collects crap. DJ, Cole, what is your expected turnaround time for the car to be turnkey ready again? Realistically, let's see here. Get the motor out. Maybe 2 months, maybe less. I mean, pulling the motor doesn't take a lot of time at all. I could have done it in an afternoon had I had the engine lift ready to actually pull it out, but I didn't have it, and I had to borrow it from Justin, so we waited until I could bring my motor up there. But I have all the stuff I need at this point, aside from some parts, but I don't want to order them until I know for sure what I'll need for the transfer case and what I'll need for the rest of the stuff. But something exciting, I am switching out the cam. So I had a mild road cam in it from Mini Sport that I purchased years ago, maybe two years ago, I forget. But it's mild road cam that's in it now, and I am going to switch that out for an Evo cam that's made by Mini Spares. Pretty sure it was Mini Spares. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, and I'm going to be putting that Evo cam in there. I'm really curious to see what kind of power I can pull out of the car. That actually arrives on Monday. Minisaurus says, what ratio is the new diff you are fitting with the 10-inch wheels? So I am going to be keeping the final drive that's on my remote box right now. So it's a 2.95 final drive, and the diff is just a 4-pin diff instead of a single pin diff. So does that answer your question? And yes, it's 10-inch wheels. Still. There we go. Wish there was someone. Minisaurus, do you like that Kent 266? I've already ordered the Evo, so I'm almost definitely going with that. I don't really want to return it. Oh, show you guys something cool. Maybe I showed you this already. Let me grab it. Oh. So, to replace the Maxi Mini says, so that Evo is more aggressive, right? Yes, so it's more aggressive than my mild road cam that I have in there now. It's not some like balls to the wall cam, you know, some sort of like race car. You know, I want it to be drivable on the road. And my RPM range I found when I was up in the mountains, the kind of sweet spot for me is right around 3 to 4,000 RPMs. And that's obviously with this cam, but that's what I'm targeting my power range to be in the new one. But so, little comparison, I want to show you guys something. This is my old distributor, and it is obviously seen a lot better days. And this distributor, I actually removed the points in it and replaced it with electronic dizzy, like that. So you can see this is like electromagnetic. So when this passes over, it is knowing when to fire instead of points. So that is a really easy way to upgrade an existing distributor to something that's more reliable. This will work when the inside gets like wet and damp and moisture in it, but I am going to be upgrading it even further. I got this 123 ignition, so it's electronically mapped ignition, and this is got full copper leads on the inside here. And check this out, fully electronic, no points, no electronic ignition module, anything like that. It is a full-on computer that looks like a standard distributor. So you keep that kind of standard look without losing all of the, without having to deal with, you know, all of the points and everything like that. Liam Clark says, so will you be repainting the car at the same time you repaint the engine during the build? I saw brake spray on the engine to remove dust, and hopefully it didn't damage the paint if you're not. So, I'm not going to be repainting everything. I am going to be touching up and cleaning up the engine bay. I do have to pull the rear subframe, get this crappy rust off of that. That is definitely a need to do. But when I was doing that brake cleaner to clean off of the rust and everything on that, I was really particular about cleaning that brake cleaner off of everything that I splashed it on. So hopefully I won't have to do too much painting, no blue painting at least. Liam Clark says, also, will you go back to the Union Jack engine paint? I probably won't. I really like my black crinkle cut valve covers. So I'll be putting that on there. I will be keeping it the blue with the silver transmission, but this Union Jack valve cover is obviously it's even more rough now because I used it as paint, as a paint protector for the valves. That is going to be a staple of my background in my videos now. The DJ says, how much are the 123 distros? So I bought mine on 7 Mini Parts, and I think it was like right around 250, 300 bucks, give or take. That's US dollars. So what's that? 180, 190 British pounds, something like that. There are lots of them too. I did the 123. I really like 7 Mini, and I like the 123 that they sell, but SwiftTune sells one. MED Engineering might sell one. I can't remember. But yeah, SwiftTune does. Who else? Mini Spares, Mini Sport. So if you're not in North America, you can definitely find an electronic distributor that'll suit your needs. And make sure that you get the right one, because some have vacuum advances and some don't. So you'll need to match what your motor is and what it has already. Maxi Minnie says, no, it would look so cool. I'm assuming you mean with that Union Jack. I did have it for a while, but I also like the additional space inside the black crinkle one that I've got, the sloped. It gives me a little bit more room for the camshaft and the the extra lift that's got. I don't know that it's a necessary per se, but it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like just got more flexibility there. All right, what else do we have here? So there is one thing I'm thinking about doing, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. So I've got the vertical lift hood hinges right now, and they've been amazing, but they're also kind of fiddly. It gives me the flexibility to work on it when I need to, you know, lift it all the way up. But they don't always operate real smooth, and I don't know if that's because of the way I've installed them or if it's the hinges. Not really sure, but I am heavily considering doing a fully removable hood. So having the two posts that sit on the back corners with, you know, the aluminum posts with drilled holes through the hood. Keep in mind this hood is not the original hood or bonnet, and then on the front having some leather straps or those like rubber stays that hold it in place. So instead of having hinges, take the hinges out completely and then doing a removable hood. Um, I don't know yet. Still kind of mulling that one over. We'll see. We'll see if I go down that route. But I'm curious to see what y'all's opinions on that are. So DJ says go with a removable bonnet because I work on my car a lot. I would agree. I do work on my car a lot. I'm really hoping that with the new stuff, I won't have to work on it quite as much, and I can focus on some kind of different jobs on the car. But like, look at all this stuff. It's starting to flake up here. Definitely needs a new coat of paint, that's for sure. Get all this stuff really tidied up. This is the kind of stuff I was talking about though with the remote gearbox. These indentations are not stock. And we had to have some gentle persuasion to push those in so that the engine could lean back with those dual HS2s. This is where the actual jets sat down in. Otherwise, they would collide with the bulkhead. Oh yeah, yeah, Sean. This and this have taken quite a lot of head skin. I don't know. It's hit my head a lot. That's for sure. DJ says that cover leading to the inside, is that a leather cover? Mine is metal. No, this is it's a material called Pyrex. So I made this really, like, as you can see, it's kind of jank, but I made it, heated it up and pressed it in to create this like mold. And I did that when I had the HIF carb. I don't actually need all that extra space anymore, so that's part of something that's going to come off with this build, and I'm going to replace that with a really nice painted black, probably aluminum sheet that's going to press on there. It's going to screw into those existing holes and cover that hole. The one that you probably have on your car sits kind of like it's like recessed, and the Mark ones didn't have anything like that. This one was just open. So Maxi Mini says, have you watched the original Italian Job? Fun fact, the Italian government didn't want to shut down the streets, so the panic on the road is actually real. Wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. But yes, I have seen that movie quite a few times actually. I love that movie. The original one. The new one's good too, but it's just different. George asked, would you reinstall the Rally Dash? I probably will not do the Rally Dash. I'm pretty satisfied with the way the dash is now. I went down that whole route and then ended up just coming right back to where I was. Sometimes you got to do something different to realize what you already have is what you like. But if anyone wants this, rally dash. It fits okay. It's not great. It's definitely a first attempt at something, but if you want it, I will post it to you if you pay for posting for free. But take a look at this stuff. So like this side of the block and the head has already started rusting. Like this part I just completely forgot to paint. Don't know how I forgot that. Vince asked question, it is smelling inside my Mini while I'm driving. Any idea? What does it smell like? Gas? Exhaust? That'll kind of help me narrow down and give you some recommendations. Exhaust. Okay. Generally, what I found on my car to be giving me those exhaust smells are a couple things. So you have your engine breathers. If it's a 1275, you've got one here. And if it's not, you probably have an additional one over here. It's really hard to see down there, especially with this plastic. But that's the breather. And those will emit blow-by. That smells like exhaust. And then your exhaust pipe, if you have a center cut exhaust pipe, you know, one that shoots right out the middle of the back of the car, it will kind of vortex if you have your windows open, and that comes back into the car. And the places I've found exhaust smells coming in are one, this right here, which is why that's covered up. There's actually a foam weather seal around this too, so it actually seals it. The other place I've seen it coming from is inside the car, specifically through the shift housing. That comes through. And then, I've seen stuff coming in from the parcel shelf up here, smells. And then, because specifically it gets through the openings where the fuel tank runs its fuel down. So those are all places that I would check. It's all about trying to seal the passenger compartment as best you can, but keep in mind there's only so much that you can do with these cars. It's never going to be perfect. I'll just kind of preface that. Minisora says you can get a wood dash from a Riley Alpha Hornet. I don't know if they'd fit on this Mark 1. The dash on the Mark 1 is different from the later models, and it curves quite a bit. So if they aren't curved, if they don't have that Mark 1 style dash rail and everything, it probably wouldn't fit. The DJ says, I'm going to be removing the rear subframe. Would you leave the wheels on it? No, absolutely not. I would not leave the wheels on it. Take those suckers off. The subframe is going to be heavy enough as it is. Take them off. Take everything you can off of it because it's heavy. It's definitely heavy. Let's have a walk back there real quick. One of the things that I would definitely take off are these radius arms. Whoops. Back here, obviously it's really difficult to see with the car down, but the rear radius arms, if you take those off, that's a considerable amount of weight that comes off of that rear subframe, and it makes lowering it much easier. George says, would you ever consider doing a left-hand drive conversion? Is it needed? I wouldn't. This was a left-hand drive car when I bought it. I bought a right-hand drive steering rack because I thought it was cool. And the US doesn't have any sort of requirements for me to make it left-hand drive, so it is staying right-hand drive. Sean says, is your water pump and head with that bypass flow? I'm guessing you mean this right here. This is, so I don't have a heater in my car. I haven't run one in there for a little while. And because my core was leaking, took it out, just never put it back in. This hose goes straight past this block, right back into the return, which is the normal flow it would take, but without the heater. So normally this would go in here, into the heater, and then it would come back out and go in there. I do have a special brand new compact heater system that I'll be running on this, so there will be a heater coming back in this car. Ilias, well, I have a mini 1.3 SPI that I just got running. Do you know how to adjust the throttle body? I don't have a lot of experience on the SPIs, if I'm being totally honest with you. So that one, I don't have any tips for you on that. I'm sorry. The DJ says, Cole, a friend of mine is wanting me to do an upgrade, to upgrade their front drums to discs. Um, Easy ish. I mean, you have to change the whole hub, and the whole hub assembly and all that stuff. So, realistically, if they have the kit that includes the hubs, the discs, the calipers, and all that stuff, it should be a pretty straightforward swap. You can change the brake lines when you're down there to braided lines, really tidy it up, but it's not too bad. Sean says there are heads that have an additional water inlet just under the thermostat housing. Yes, mine is one of those. And I meant to show you that. Not, I didn't mean to. I had one here, Justin's 1275 block. That one actually had that bypass, and I could have showed you, but it's gone, and I don't have this out. I can't really show you without making you all sick, flipping the camera over and all sorts of stuff. I have a question for you guys. Do you have a cleaning stuff called Simple Green in the UK? I ask because I've been trying to find what I could clean this transmission with without having to replace all the bearings and too many heavy chemicals on it. And I've got some recommendations to use Simple Green, dilute it a little bit, and then use that to clean out the grime and the gunk in here. Um, and that works pretty well. I don't really want to acid wash it because if I do, I'd have to, basically rebuild the whole thing, and it's in really good shape, and I don't want to do that. So, I mean, it's crazy. All those teeth are like, it looks freshly rebuilt, to be honest with you guys. The lay gear, or the lay shaft is nice and tight back here. That's nice. I don't think that's going to be any problem. Um, Plus, it comes with a free dead moth inside it. That's going to be that's going to add a lot of horsepower, I think. Oh, Minisaurus says 8.4, 7.5. That's actually a really good question. Because if they're bigger, if they're 7.5s, 10s will fit on it. But if you get the bigger discs, yeah, you'll need 12s or 13s around those. Ilya says, okay, but do you know where on the SPI the fuel filter is? Whoops. It's underneath the car, but couldn't find where. So they could be in a few places. So you have, it depends on what the previous owner did with it. My fuel filter and a lot of fuel filters sit at the back of the car, underneath, kind of like right behind the rear wheel. A lot of electronic pumps get put there as well, so you might find the filter there. Sometimes people will put them in line, like in the engine bay, and it could be a little filter about that big. See next to my head, about that big. But the best way to do it is probably just to follow the line. So follow the line from your fuel tank down out the bottom of your boot, and then follow it. There might be a fuel filter back there before the pump. If the line's just straight copper, or like a bendy line down to a copper line, and there's no pump back there, most likely it's a mechanical fuel pump, but I don't know if they used mechanical fuel pumps on SPIs. I'm not really sure about that. DJ says, I don't like the 10-inch wheels, just personal preference. Well, I will have to disagree with you on that one. I like my 10-inch wheels. but it also gives you the benefit of having to get or being able to use bigger brakes if you don't use the 10-inch wheels. So fair enough. Let's put my gloves off. Hey. Ooh, Minisaurus, that's a good one. Might be in the field if it's on an SPI. That's common too. There's a ring, you can see it on the tank, and it's where the leads for your fuel gauge get mounted and clipped on. The fuel filter might be in that. The fuel pump might be in that as well. DJ says, that's my reason I can't see the C300 quid in a brake upgrade. That downsizes the brake disc. Sorry guys, I know unpopular opinion here. Well, 7.5 is still larger than the Cooper S brakes. I'm pretty sure they were 7, I think. No, maybe they were 7.9. I might be getting this mixed up. But, I mean, disc brakes, a solid size set of disc brakes are going to be better than the drums, without a doubt, for sure. So, yeah. DJ says, I've run the Mini Sport 4-pot grooved and vented. So I have the 4-pot calipers. I've got the same ones that you have, but mine are only drilled. I don't have the vented discs. I would really like those vented discs, but I have experienced those brakes getting really hot when I've been going down the mountain roads. I've had to adjust my driving and really learn how to properly brake down a mountain using the engine instead of brakes, which was a learning experience, but one that I am very glad that I had the opportunity to do without crashing the car. But yeah, I think I am actually going to start wrapping up this live stream. I really like to get the motor out today and on the ground so that I can start taking that apart, because it's going to be, I've got an empty stand behind me that is just begging for a motor to be put on it. So it is time. It's time for Bad Wolf to come apart, and then I can start cleaning up that engine bay too. Man, so exciting. So exciting. Car's going to run so great after I'm done. But do you guys have any other questions or anything you want to ask me before I go? I'm judging by the folks signing off and the viewer count going down that there are not many other questions today. George, thank you for the kind words, and have a good evening. All right, folks. Well, you have a good night. Those of you that are in the EU, if you're in the US, have a good day. And keep your eyes out for Operation Bad Wolf. That's coming up very soon. Very, very soon. But see you then.